Hi guys, in this video I'm excited to walk you through how to use WordPress. So if you're brand new to websites or you have a little bit of experience maybe using WordPress, this tutorial will hopefully share a lot of things that you've not done before or that you don't know about yet. So we're going to try to go into it a little bit. We're going to get intermediate and advanced a little bit, but it's mainly going to be beginner level stuff here about how to use WordPress. So starting off with our WordPress dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and assume you've already gone to your website, domainname.com/wp-admin, and you've gone ahead and signed into your WordPress account. So now that we are in the WordPress dashboard of our website, the first thing you're going to notice is the tabs down the left-hand side here. So we've got the first one that says dashboard. This is kind of the overview page where you can start adding pages, set up your home page, you can write your first blog post. You can also manage menus and widgets, turn comments off. So they've got different things you could do here. If you don't need any of this assistance, we can go ahead and click on the dismiss button. So now our dashboard is going to bring up a bunch of just random boxes here with different content. We've got WordPress events and news. If you want to think about writing, maybe some thoughts that you have in your head right now, you can start a draft of a blog article that you can come back to later. You can also see your recent activity, what you've recently published, what comments you've recently gotten on different blog articles of yours, and then you can see an overall, at a glance, how many articles are on your website, how many comments you've had on your website since you began. Alright, so this is the dashboard. There's really not a lot to do here. I only mainly use it if I install analytics plugins, and they've got charts and stats here that show me how many visitors I've had every month. It's a quick way for me to just log into my website, get a quick glance at my analytics, and kind of move on. So I'm not going to spend too much time here on the dashboard. Next, let's just go down the list here. We've got posts. So we can go ahead and either click on the tab right here that says posts, or we can just hover our mouse over it and out will pop a sub menu that's got all posts, add new, categories, and tags. So we'll go ahead and open up each of these in their own tab so that I can kind of go through them with you one by one. So starting with all posts, you're going to get a sample post on your website when you first install WordPress. So this is just a hello world sample post. You can click into it and check it out if you want. I'm going to go ahead and click trash, and that's going to move it to the trash. So now we have a blank page with no articles here. So as we publish new articles to our website, they're going to populate here. So this is where we can find them if we need to make changes or edits to them later on. Next, we'll go into the Add New Post tab. So again, you can track what we're doing over here on the left side. We are now in the Add New under Posts. So we can give our blog article a title. So this is your blog post title. And then we've got this box down here that's kind of yellowish colored. This is where you're going to type out the body of your article. So we would begin, writing all about, let's say, sports. So if we're a sports blog, we could write an article all about sports here. So you're going to write out your article. Anytime you want to add photos into your article, you just click on this Add Media button, and it'll bring up the media uploader so you can grab photos off of your computer. If you want to update any of the text here, we've got this text bar here. So we can highlight all of this text, we can make it bold, we can change it to a heading 1. So heading 1 is like our title of our article, which a lot of times the title itself up here automatically is going to get wrapped in a heading 1 tag when we publish our article. So down in the article body, we would begin writing about sports. Maybe we've got a headline that's, how to play basketball. So that could be our heading of our article that we start off with. So we could go ahead and highlight this text here, and we could turn it into a heading 2. And then we can go underneath it, we could start typing out normal paragraph text. So by default, it goes back to paragraph. It doesn't stay in heading 2. So now we could start, talking all about basketball is our article. And then if we have another heading, maybe how to shoot free throws, this could be a subheading. We can go ahead here and make that a heading 3. So it's a way to organize your article so you can break it up into sections. You can have the main heading, and then you can have subheadings. That makes it easier for people to read as they're scrolling through reading your article on your website. When you're all done, you can either save it as a draft or you can go ahead and publish it live. If you want, you can even schedule your article over here using this little scheduling tool. So we could go ahead and move it from, instead of today's date, December 2nd, we could move this out to, let's say, December 5th. So maybe in a couple days. So we'll click OK, When we click OK, it's going to update it to December 5th, and now that button's going to change from publish to schedule, so we could go ahead and schedule this article. We also have categories. If we want to categorize our blog articles to keep them organized, that way we can promote specific categories on specific pages or maybe on social media. So we're going to go ahead and create a couple categories here to show you how it works. Just click on this Add New Category button, and we could type in basketball. This could be our first category. So I'll click Add New Category. It'll automatically add it here and check mark it. If we want to create some additional categories, we can just click on the Add New Category button again. You can see this little box here with the highlight, the flashing line there. So we'll go ahead and add free throws. So if we write articles about free throws, then we could, categorize it as that. Maybe we have 3-pointers, and then maybe we have dribbling. Maybe we have basketball camp. So maybe we want to write some articles about upcoming camps that kids could go to. So we can have these different categories to organize our articles, and then again, you just check box the one that fits this article in particular. So that's a good way to go ahead and add categories. The other way to do it would be to come here under Posts, All Posts, Add New, come down here to the one that says Categories. So we've opened that up in a new tab for you. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page now that we've added categories from our blog post editor, and now you can see those new categories populate in here. So anytime we need to make edits, we can come here and edit them. There's the quick edit button. So the quick edit button, for example, we can edit the name of the category and then the slug. So this is the URL slug that comes after our domain name. So it would say like nickfoywebsite.com/3-pointers. And then there'd be another slash, and then the article URL would come after that. So that's one way that WordPress is going to use the slug in the URL to try to separate out posts that belong to a specific category. So that's getting a little more advanced, but if you needed to change the slug, you could do so there. So that's pretty much the basics of the blog post. We also have tags, so we can come under tags here. Again, if we want to categorize or organize posts by tags, we could do so here as well. So categories could be a little more broad, tags could get a little bit more specific, so we can get even further, instead of just general basketball categories, we can get more specific, like, the Miami Heat, for example, that could be a tag, or, basketball shoes. I mean, we could just think of different tag ideas here. So again, the name, we can customize the slug to what we want it to be, and we could give it a description, and then we could add these new tags. And then when we're back here in our blog post editor, there will be a section down here for tags that you'll see the different tags that you can click on to tag your post with those words. Alright, lastly, we've got the featured image section down here. This is where you can add a featured image to your blog article. This shows up out on the blog feed, so when somebody's scrolling your list of articles, they're going to see the featured image. So a lot of times if I need a featured image, I'll go to pexels.com, Pexels.com. And that's going to be a free stock photo and video website where you can download free photos. So we could just type in basketball and we'll see a bunch of different photos come up here. So we could just pick this one, sunset of a basketball hoop. We can come over here and choose our size. So a lot of times I'll just pick like a medium size image because we don't want the file size huge. It's going to take a lot of space up on our website and make our website load slower. So that's one of the advanced tips we'll get into later. We want to go ahead and make sure our images are always optimized to their smallest size possible without ruining picture quality before we upload them into WordPress. So to do that, I use a website called bulkresizePhotos.com. It looks like this. It's got the bulk resize logo up here. It says choose images. We click on that. Then I just grab my image, I bring it back in here. We can resize it to 100% so it doesn't change the pixel size of the image. So if the image is already maybe 2000 pixels by 1080, it'll stay 2000 pixels by 1080. We're just scaling the image size of the file size so that if it was, a megabyte or 2 megabytes, it'll shrink it down hopefully to a smaller file size. So we can adjust what format, whether we want PNG or JPEG here, and then the image quality. So we can just take it down to maybe 80%. It's going to be a featured image, so it's going to be smaller. It's not going to be that big. So there's our final outputted image. You can see what was before and after. So in this case, the image was only 115 kilobytes, which isn't that big of a file size to start with, and it shrunk it down to 90 kilobytes. So it did a little bit of resizing, saved us a little bit of space. I get more worried if I see image sizes that are 500 kilobytes or above. So a lot of times when I take a photo out of my camera, it might be, a megabyte, and that's going to be really a large file size that could slow down the web page. So I try to get it down to, under 200 kilobytes if possible. So we'll just click on featured image, come here to the media uploader, click select file. Now I can go back into my download folder, grab the one that we just resized. It'll import it in here, and then we can set it as a featured image. So now let me go ahead and just set this back to today's date so that we can go ahead and get that post published. Alright, so to go ahead and view your published post, you can come out here to the preview changes button, or we can go here to this URL that says this is your blog post title. Anytime you want to change this link, you can edit it here. It's called your permalink. So right now it's nicksdemowebsite.com/this is your blog post title. So if we wanted to edit this, we could just come here, we could edit it, and we could type in basketball as our URL. So we'll just keep it short. So go ahead and click update. That'll save our changes. A lot of times I recommend just change this permalink once before you publish your article. So while your article is still in draft stage, this is when you would want to change the permalink. Once you've published the article, it's not recommended to change the permalink because it can screw up linking. If you have this linked out on your website somewhere, when people go to that link, it'll be a broken link. They won't be able to access your blog article. Alright, so here's what it looks like. This is your blog post title by Nick Demo Site on December 2nd, 2020. Here's our featured image. Then we've got our heading, some text, another heading. So this is an incomplete article, but it's a little preview of what it would look like out here on our website. Alright, so we'll go ahead and exit out of this. That is everything you need to know, the basics of using a blog post on your new website. So we are under the post tab here. Next, let's go under the media tab. So let's go ahead and just click on media this time. So under media, we have library and we have add new. So library obviously is your media library. So as you upload images, it will populate them into this library. As you upload PDF files, it will also put them into your media library. So there's different types of media you can put here. You can put PDF files, you can put images, and I don't believe you can do videos at this time. You can do GIFs, however, the GIF format, so you can upload those as well. Next, if you want to add new, you just click on add new under media, or you come here to this add new button in your media library. And all that's going to do is bring up the file uploader so that we can click on select files, and it'll pull open your computer to select files from. Alright, so that's the media library, pretty simple. It's good to keep this organized. Just know if you come in here and ever delete any photos out of your media library and you are using them out on your website, it will delete them off your website pages. So if I deleted this featured image right now, it would remove it from my blog post that I just added it to, and then your blog post might look like it's missing images and might look kind of funky. So be careful if you ever come in here and do some organizing or some cleaning and decide to start deleting images. Make sure you know where that image was on your website and you replace it with a different image. Alright, let's go into the Pages tab next. So we'll click on Pages. We've got two options, All Pages and Add New. So this would be where we'd see a list of all our different pages we have created for our website. So if we wanted to create a home page, maybe an about page, maybe a contact page, we could do so by clicking the Add New button or this Add New button on the All Pages page. So we'll click Add New, open that up in a new tab. It's going to look a lot like the blog post editor. So as you see here, we've got our title bar again, and then we've got this box where we can start typing in content. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of set up basic template structures. So let's just first call this one the home page. We'll come over here and click on the blue publish button to get it published. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on add new a couple more times. So we'll get two more pages going. So we're going to go ahead and type in one called the about page. So I'm just going to title it about, click publish. We'll come in here to another tab. We'll create a contact page here and we'll click publish. Alright, so we've got three basic blank pages that we've started. So we can go in and customize each of these pages. Now, a lot of you are going to get stuck at this point. You're going to say, alright, there's a blank page there. So how do I build the page? It doesn't look very pretty to just put a bunch of text in here and add some photos through the media browser. So what I want to show you is a plugin that is actually a page builder so that it makes building pages much simpler and much more easy and creative than just using this bland, boring white page here. And what I mean is this is just going to look just like the blog article. So remember when we looked at our blog post page, it was just, our featured image, our title, and our subheadings. It wasn't that interesting of a page. So we're going to show you under plugins to go to add new, open the link in a new tab. We come here under plugins. Plugins are a way to add additional features to your blank website. So right now WordPress out of the box is just a shell. It's just a blank dashboard with not many features. I mean, you could add blog articles, you could add web pages, you could add media, but it's pretty basic, pretty blank and boring. So we need to go ahead and use plugins to add some additional cool features. Think of them like apps for your website that add additional bonus features. So the first one is under the search bar here called Elementor. So this is the page builder that I've fallen in love with and that I use a lot on all my websites now. So we can go ahead, type it in, you'll see it here, Elementor Website Builder. Click on the Install Now button. It's got over 5 million active installs. It's got plenty of 5-star reviews. It's updated in the last 7 days, so they keep it updated with the current version of WordPress. So that's all good, because as WordPress updates over time, you want these plugins to be updated as well so they can function and run properly with your WordPress account and they don't cause any errors or bugs on your website. Now we're going to go ahead and click the blue Activate button next, and that's going to go ahead and turn this plugin on. And it's going to bring us to a Welcome to Editor page. So it's the first time we've added this plugin to our website. So we get to watch a little tutorial video on how to build our website with Elementor. I'm not going to do that right now. I actually have my own tutorial video I built for you guys on the YouTube channel. It's called How to Make a WordPress Website with Elementor. You can search for it on my channel. It'll walk you step by step how to build a web page using Elementor. But for right now, I'm going to give you the short tutorial. I'm going to come back here to my home page. We're going to go ahead and click this blue update button again, or we could just refresh the page, either or, and it's going to refresh this page so that it now loads with Elementor added to our website. So we can see the big blue Elementor button here, Edit with Elementor. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take us into a completely different page editor. So this page editor actually comes with all the bells and whistles, all the fancy features that we'd want to add to a page. It's not just that boring blank yellow text box where we'd add text and images. No, this now is a complete page builder tool that we have access to where we can go ahead and start dragging in images, videos, buttons, text boxes, headline boxes, and many more element widgets over here in the sidebar. So what we want to do first, we want to go into the settings icon right here. We want to go here to layout. I'm going to select Elementor Canvas. What that's going to do is it's going to give us a blank slated layout. So it's going to get rid of all of this right now that we are currently seeing. So let me hit refresh here, and it's going to open up a white page that's completely ready to go. Now, one other thing to note, since I'm still seeing this yellow colored background, this has to do with what theme I currently have installed. So in a little bit, we're going to get into themes under the Appearance tab. I'm going to show you how to install a new theme. But for right now, just note that this would turn white once I install a new theme. But my current theme has default settings, and it probably has the background color of my pages as a default setting, and it's turned to this kind of yellowish tan color. So we're not going to worry about it because I'm going to get rid of this theme in a few minutes here. But for right now, to use Elementor, we just start adding in sections. So we can build our page out as a full page, or 2 half columns, or 3 columns, or 4 columns, or we could have a smaller column and a bigger column. So they have lots of different layout options. We're going to go ahead and just start with a full page layout. And then inside of that is a column box where we can add elements. So I could go ahead and add maybe a headline here. And then maybe I'll go back here and add an image underneath the headline. And then underneath that, maybe we'll add some more text. So I can come back here using this little grid button, and we can add a text editor element. All right, so this would be our headline. This would be our image that we'd start off the page with. Maybe this would be our text boxes. All right, so I'm going to go more into that, like I said, in a different video. I don't want to spend too much time. Right now, I'm just showing you the basics of WordPress and how to use WordPress. So one of the tips for using WordPress is get yourself a page builder so that you can play around and build out your pages. And Elementor is the one that I'm recommending. It's super easy to use. It's got a lot of great widgets here under Basic. And as you scroll down here under General, there are also a bunch of great elements here you can use as well. Now there is a pro version you have to pay for. That'll unlock additional elements. But we actually have another plugin we install called Essential Add-ons. So if we ever went back here under plugins, you go to Add New again. You could just search for the Essential Add-ons plugin. So we'll type in Elementor. When we type in Elementor, one of the first ones you'll see right next to the Elementor plugin is Essential Add-ons for Elementor. So we'll install this as well and click Activate. And this is going to add a bunch of these widgets that we had out here on our page. So if I go back here to my home page, a lot of these pro widgets that are locked right now we'll actually have access to down here. So we can go ahead and just click on the update button. Once that updates, I'll refresh the page, let our page builder load again, and now that we've installed and activated the plugin, we can just scroll down here and see all these new add-ons that came into the page builder dashboard over here from the Essential Add-ons plugin. So again, we have lots of new elements, all kinds of different things here that we can add in to build out our page. So that's the basics of pages. You add a new page, you give it a title, hit publish, then you use the page builder like Elementor to create the page and start designing it. Next, let's go into comments. This is where you can manage comments people leave on your blog. Now, if you have a very active, high traffic blog, you might get quite a few comments. For most people starting out, you're just going to get spam comments that trickle in here and there. You're not going to get a whole lot of comments, and a lot of them, like I said, they're just going to be spam. So I usually don't really worry too much about comments. I a lot of times will turn comments off on my website. It's not a very big feature anymore on websites. I know on YouTube and on other platforms, comments are still really relevant. People leave comments all the time. On websites, it's not that likely people are going to leave comments on your website unless, like I said, you're getting lots of traffic and it's in a certain industry where comments are really a big thing. So I wouldn't worry too much about the comments tab here today when we're going through this WordPress tutorial. Alright, so these additional tabs that are now showing up in my dashboard that you're not going to see on your screen are because of the plugins that we just installed. So we've got the Elementor tab here. So this is where we can go in and edit settings for Elementor. We can add our own custom fonts into the Elementor page builder, our own custom icons. So we're not going to do too much here ever. A lot of times I only use Elementor out on my pages tab. I don't actually get into any of the settings. I just let it run with its default settings. Templates is where we're going to save different templates over time from our Elementor page builder. So as I create out pages, if I want to save that page as a template so I can reuse it again in the future on other pages, I'll save it as a template, and this is where you'll find those saved templates. We also have pop-ups. So as we start creating pop-up boxes like email contact grabbers, these are going to be boxes that ask for people's email address that pop up on the screen, or maybe we want to have discount codes pop up that say limited time discount, 10% off. We can create pop-ups here, and this again is like the pop-up library where you can find all your different pop-ups that you've created. Essential Add-ons, this tab comes from the Essential Add-ons plugin that we just installed a few moments ago, so we can edit some of the settings and stuff here under the Essential Add-ons tab. Alright, now let's go ahead into the Appearance tab. This is one of the default tabs that comes with WordPress. When you hover out the Appearance tab, you're going to see Themes, Customize, Widgets, Menus, Background, Theme Editor. So let's start off with Themes. A theme is what gives your website the overall design and feel of the website. So right now, we've got the Active 2020 theme. That is our theme that is currently active. So it's got the little active notification next to it. And as you look at it, you can see that it's got kind of a white header area, and then the background color of the body of the page is that yellowish color. So that's why we were seeing that yellowish color over on our page builder, because it's the default setting of the theme. So to add a new theme to your website, you can go to this Add New Theme button. It's going to pull up the WordPress theme directory where you can see all kinds of different themes that people have created and uploaded here for you to use. I like to go with a lightweight theme because I don't like my website to be super heavy and super slow when it loads. So I try to find lightweight themes that work well with the Elementor plugin. So one of the best themes that works with the Elementor page builder is the Astra theme. So you can check that out typing in Astra. Another one is the actual theme by Elementor, the team that created the Elementor plugin. So they created this theme now called Hello Elementor. You can always click on the details and preview button anytime you want to learn more about it. So it's going to kind of give you a little preview of it. I would ignore the preview. The preview never looks as good as the featured image of what the theme could look like. So we don't really worry about that, but we can click on preview to see a preview example of it. I never have found that that looks very good. A lot of times I judge what the theme looks like based on the actual image of it. So as we are going back here to like the most popular tab, for example, we can quickly just look at these images and you can see how these websites look with this theme. So this one, for example, looks pretty fancy. It's got a mountain background. It's got a couple buttons that say start now and download, a nice big headline that says create and grow your website, a menu bar. It's got some little yellow icons here as well. So as we click on details and preview, watch what happens. Now we've got nothing that looks just like the image that we just saw. So that's why a lot of times I ignore the whole preview function, because it really doesn't do you any good to try to preview it. You can just take it based on what the image looks like when you're checking out the themes here in the theme library. So those are two themes I would start off recommending you, Astra and Hello Elementor, as opportunities to download and install to your website. So to do so, we're just going to hover over it. We're going to click on the blue install button and it'll add it into our website. Now we can go back here to the themes page and it'll populate that in here to the themes page. So if we want to activate it and make this the active theme, we can go ahead and click on the activate button. Page will refresh, it'll switch positions. Now it'll be here to the far left and it'll say active. So this is our new theme that is now active on our website. So what comes with this theme are all the custom fonts that this theme has, all the different sizes, the background colors, any default settings this theme automatically comes with will be imported into our website. So if we come back out here now, we click on our demo website button up here at the top. This will take us out to our website. So I can click over here to the home page. All right, so now we have those default themes. So this default color now has changed to pink. The background is now defaulted to white because these are some initial settings that came when the install of our theme here. Now customize, this is kind of the old way that you can go in and customize your website settings. You can come in here to site identity. You can change your title, your tagline of your site. You can give your site a logo. You can edit the menu here. You can edit the homepage settings, additional CSS. I typically don't use this customized settings. I just, like I said, I build all my pages using the Elementor plugin, so I usually don't need to mess with settings elsewhere on my website. We also have menus. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about menus. Let me give an example website real quick. So let me go to asknickfoy.com. This is my marketing website where I teach marketing, how to use websites, how to use social media, how to use videos. So currently this is my menu bar. We've got a logo here. We've got these different drop-down buttons that people can press. So these are going to take them to different pages of my website. We call this the menu bar. And overall, we call this top section the header of our page. All right, so as you can see, courses drops down, shows a bunch of different courses people can take to learn about blogging, Pinterest, email marketing, how to start a blog, free 7-day course. All right, so this is a menu, and this is a sub menu that drops down when they click on the main menu option up here called courses. So if we head back into your WordPress website under appearance and we go down here to menus, it's going to open up a page that looks like this. So this is where we can set up our first menu. So by default, they've already imported some of our pages into this first menu that they're calling menu 1 for us. These are pages that we added earlier. All right, so we can go ahead and rearrange the order that we want our menu. So if I want home page to come first, if I want about, contact page, I'm going to go ahead and delete this other one called home. So we now just have our home page. This was the one that we started building with Elementor. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that, but I'm going to go ahead and change it from home page to just home. So you can rename it by clicking the little drop down arrow. This little drop down arrow shows our navigation label. So here's where we type in what we want it to say. So home, about, and then we'll just change this to say contact instead of contact page. So if we want to go ahead and create this menu and make it live, we'll just click create, let the page refresh. Now we have a menu. So to get it to show up on our website, we need to go here to the menu settings. So we have display location right here. We want to go ahead and check box this that says primary. And we'll click save menu. So now we've created our menu. We've typed in the display location as primary here with the checkbox. We'll click save. It'll refresh the page. We can come back out here to our page. I can refresh my home page, and now our menu displays here. So we've got home, about, and contact. So once you get done setting up these different pages for your website, you can go ahead and add them into your menu and you can start displaying them on your website. So this is a way for people to have like a navigation bar at the top of your website so they can navigate between different pages. That way they're not just stuck after they look at this first page and they're like, what else do I do? They're going to leave your website. So having a menu will keep people on your website so they click around to other pages and access other information. So a lot of times I recommend having your most important information that you want people to find in your menu bar. Because if you don't have it in your menu bar, it's going to be hard for them to find it unless you're linking to it internally on your individual blog articles as well. So have your most important pages that you want people to find up here in the menu bar, and that's how you're going to get people clicking and directing traffic to where you want it to go. Alright, so that's menus. Again, let's show a few more things you can do here in the menu bar. So under pages, this is where we can click on different pages that we have currently and add it over here into the menu section. So if I wanted to add that other home page that we had started with initially, I could check it, click add to menu. It'll now put it over here. If I want to get rid of it, I just click on this down arrow, it'll open it up, and we can click remove, and it'll remove it. A few other things we can do. We can add posts. So if you want to add blog articles into your menu bar, you can do so here. So maybe you've got a couple blog articles like my how to make a WordPress website tutorial. That might be a step-by-step tutorial that I want to include in my menu bar. So I could search for that article here and I could click on it, add it into my menu just like we do with pages. But I want to show you custom links. Custom links is where you can add your own special URLs. So let's say I wanted to link out to my Facebook page in my menu bar. So I could go ahead and type in my Facebook URL, so HTTPS, and then we could type in facebook.com/ whatever your Facebook URL is. So test demo Nick. So that could be my Facebook URL. I type in there, and then we want to give our menu item some text, what we want to label it. So we're going to just label this Facebook. And I'm going to click add to menu. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit save menu. I'm going to go back out here to my demo page, refresh this page. We now have Facebook added into our menu. So we can have our home page, our about page, our contact page, and then we could link to some social media pages like Facebook, or I could add in my YouTube link. So that's one way that we can add custom links, just coming here to the custom links section, adding the URL and labeling it what we want to label it, and that's where it's going to take them. Lastly, we have categories. So if we want to create maybe a blog section, so let me go back here to custom link, HTTPS, and then we'll do Nick's demo website.com/blog, and we'll link this out as blog. So now I've created a main top level menu item called blog that I'm going to slide up here next to home. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to categories. We're going to go to view all. I'm going to click on these different categories here. Make sure I check them all. I'm going to click add to menu. Now it's going to import them into my menu. I don't want them to be top level menu items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag 3 pointers up here under blog, and I'm going to indent it in a little bit and just let go. And it's going to section it there underneath my blog. So now it's going to create a sub menu or a sub page for this item so that when people are on your main menu, they're not going to see these items until they hover over the menu item called blog. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So here we are dragging these over. So we have a sub menu that we are building. We can also go another step in. So if I wanted to break down even further and I had another sub menu I wanted to put under 3 pointers, I could start dragging things underneath 3 pointers. So it's a good way to have multiple slide out menus that when people hover over different things. So we'll go back over here to our page, refresh. We now have this one called blog. And as I hover over it with my cursor, you can see the little arrow already as well. That means that there's a drop down menu that's going to display. So we can see 3 pointers, basketball camps, dribbling. So this is our sub menu that we can create. And again, if I created another sub menu under 3 pointers, that would slide out over here to the right, and we'd have another sub menu that we could click on. So that's basics of what you can do with WordPress menus. You can come in here and add different pages that you're building with the Elementor page builder. You can come over here and add custom links to store pages that you might have set up. Maybe you're selling things on Etsy, or maybe you want to link out to your social media pages. So you could create custom links here. And then if you want to add categories, like if you're trying to push people to specific categories or have an organized menu for your blog, you could do so here using the categories feature. All right, next let's go into plugins. This is going to be where you spend a lot of your time in your WordPress dashboard. So plugins, we have the media library for plugins where we have all of our installed plugins. We can also go to the add new tab if we want to add new plugins. So under plugins, we're going to see what's currently installed on our website. We've got the classic WordPress editor plugin. We have the Elementor plugin, essential add-ons for Elementor, and Siteground optimizer. So these are 2 plugins, classic editor, Siteground optimizer, that came default with my WordPress installation. I use Siteground as my hosting company. You can go to asknickfoy.com/Siteground to check them out if you are starting from scratch and don't have hosting yet. But they automatically add this optimizer plugin that helps optimize my website so that it runs faster, it runs smoother. It's got a lot of bells and whistles inside of it that we can go over in another video to make sure your website loads fast, because website speed is super critical. You don't want a slow loading website. That's going to make people run away from your website and they won't come back. All right, next, the Classic Editor plugin. This also comes by default. I had to check a setting when I was doing my install for WordPress, so it automatically installed this for me. Otherwise, we could just go to the Add New function and bring up this box here, and we could just search for Classic WordPress Editor and install it ourselves. But what it does is it brings up the old Classic Editor when we're editing pages and blog articles. I like it for my blog posts. I like to just have that title headline box and then the box underneath where we type in the blog article body. I don't like the new kind of page builder editor they put into blog articles, so I prefer to just stick with the Classic Editor. It's just a personal preference. And then lastly, the Elementor and Essential add-ons. These were ones that we had already installed earlier in this video to build out our pages. So this is why it's displaying all of these. We can see they're all highlighted a bluish color. That's because they're all currently active. So if you decide you need to deactivate a plugin, you just come here to deactivate. It'll turn it off. It'll make it stop working on your website. So if we needed to turn off Elementor for some reason, we could just click on deactivate and it'll turn it off. We can also do it in bulk by clicking this checkbox here and do bulk actions. So we could update all of our plugins at once. We could deactivate them all at once. If we wanted to delete a bunch of plugins at once. So we can do a lot of that. We can also enable auto updates. That's a new cool feature WordPress has, because plugins over time, you can see what version they're on, version 1.6, version 3.0.14. The version number is where the developer of the plugin is currently at with this plugin. So as WordPress updates over time, these plugins become out of date because WordPress has new features, new settings, and these plugin editors have to go in here and update their plugins so they are compatible with the current version of WordPress. If they don't go in and update these plugins and make them up to date with the current version of WordPress, things can start to get kind of buggy. Websites will start having errors because things are going to clash. So it's important to make sure that your plugins are ran by good developers who actually stay on top of things and update their plugins from time to time. And so when new plugin updates come out, you're going to see a little notification that's going to say update available, and you can click on it and it'll automatically update your plugin. Or you can set up the auto update feature here by enabling it under this setting. So why that's super handy? Because we don't have to manually log into our WordPress once a month and see how many plugins need updated. You can just set it to enable auto updates and forget it. You don't ever have to worry about your website breaking down because of old outdated plugins. Maybe you forget to log into your website for a year. You just have it set up to where it's running on autopilot. You won't have to stress and worry about it because of these enable auto update features that WordPress now has capability of doing. So let's go into the actual add new section again of plugins. So just like we did earlier under appearance when we went to themes and we clicked on the add new button and we could look at all the different themes that were available in the theme directory. This is kind of what we're seeing here in the add plugins page. This is all the different plugins available in the plugin library of WordPress. So there's thousands and thousands of plugins that you have available to add to your website, to add different features to your website. So these are like add-ons. They add special features. So a few of them that we want to get started with, I like the Yoast SEO plugin. That allows us to update blog articles when we're in the blog post editor so that we can optimize them for SEO, search engine optimization. So this helps us with Google if we're trying to get our website pages showing up on Google. So we're going to go more into it in its own video. I'll show you how to use the Yoast SEO plugin. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just click on install. We also want to add a social widgets plugin. So you can just type in social widget and you're going to see all these different ones that pop up that have social media widgets. So if we wanted to add different social media buttons to our website so that people could click on them, maybe in our menu, for example, if we wanted people in our menu bar to see different social media icons so we could take them to our Facebook page or our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you can add these different plugins here that have social media buttons by default. And so this is another way to add a cool feature to your website. Oh, we can't forget about contact forms. If you are going to be trying to collect people's information, if you're a business, you want to collect people's emails, their phone numbers, so you can reach out and contact them later. You want to have a contact form on your website. So we can search contact form plugins. We've got WP Forms, Ninja Forms, Contact Forms 7. These are your most popular contact form plugins. You can see so by the fact that it has 5 million installations. This one's got 4 million. This one's got 1 million installations. So these are pretty much the most popular contact form plugins out there. I believe Elementor itself comes with its own contact form. So if we come back here to our Elementor page, you can see there's a form here under the Pro version that is currently locked. But don't worry about that. We can scroll down here to our Essential Add-ons plugin that we installed earlier, and we can find Contact Form 7. We can find other forms like Caldera forms. So they've got multiple other forms here that we can add in already to our web pages. I think you may still need to install some of these plugins to make these forms function. So maybe Caldera or Contact Form 7, we might still have to install the plugin that goes with them, but they already have the element ready for us here in our page builder. So that's one way to add contact forms if you want to do it outside of adding through a plugin, is you could just use the Elementor page builder forms that come with the Essential Add-ons plugin. I've used Formidable Forms before as well. This is another one you could use. So that's plugins. You don't want to spend too much time here. You basically can just come here and check the most featured or the popular, and you can see just a running list of a lot of the most popular plugins that people are installing. So already you can see Contact Form 7, Yoast SEO, the Classic Editor, Elementor. These are all plugins I already have installed or have been talking about today, and you can see why, because they are one of the most popular plugins that people are currently using. If you're going to build an e-commerce website, you can use WooCommerce. It's a free plugin. It allows you to create a store, so you could create products. You can start pricing products, adding featured images of your products, and it'll create a little store page for you, and it also creates a checkout page for you where you can collect people's payment information, and then it'll take them to a order confirmation page after that. So those pages automatically get created and installed when you install the WooCommerce plugin, so you don't have to worry about custom creating your own checkout page. It'll default bring in a bunch of pages when you install the plugin. All right, lastly, we've got a couple more tabs here. Users, this is where you can go if you want to update your profile. So you can add a profile image to your profile. You can update your name. Right now, my name up here is Nick Demo Site. You can see it says Howdy Nick Demo Site. That's a name I gave myself in my users tab here. I went added myself. You automatically get added as a user. I went in though and updated my own profile and gave myself a nickname. So you can do that under users. If you want to add users, like adding another admin, let's say you and a partner are both going to be working on your website, you can go and add new, and you can add somebody else, and it'll send them an email notification to let them know they've been added to your WordPress site, and they can create their own login and password so they can access. So you can give different roles. You can have editors, you can have admins, you could have, content managers, page managers, things like that. So there's different roles that people can choose from, and that's going to allow them to have different authority levels. So if you don't want to give them access to everything, you can maybe, give them a lower role so they can only do specific things on your website, and they can't access, everything that an admin would have availability to. We've got tools here. This is where you can import and export files. So if you ever wanted to export your WordPress website, you could do so with the export tab. If you needed to import previous files from some other platform, you could do with the import tool here. You can check on your site health. You can export personal data, erase personal data. So tools, something we're not going to use a whole lot, but it is handy to know that it's here. Sometimes when we install plugins under the plugins tab, they will actually put them under the tools section. So if you're wondering where in your dashboard a certain plugin went, make sure you check that tools drop down. It might have stuck it in there. Most of the time, however, though, your plugins are going to get put here under settings. So if they don't automatically create its own separate tab out here like Elementor did, then you should also check the settings tab. You might see some plugins that come into the settings tab, and that's where you're going to be able to find them if you need to click on them to get to the settings page for those specific plugins so that you can make edits or changes to them. Okay, now we are under settings, under general, and general settings is where you can update your site title, your tagline. You can see your WordPress URL, your site address, and then you should have your administrative email address in this field here so that you can get emails from WordPress about different updates and comments and things like that that come onto your website. Under general settings, you can also set the new user default role, which is the subscriber. There are other default roles like contributor, author, editor, and administrator. Site language is by default English. Time zone, you can set to the current time zone that you are in. So you can just scroll here and look for your city. So we're going to scroll all the way up and find Indianapolis as Eastern time zone. So we are Eastern. Date format, time format, what day the week starts on, and then we can click Save Changes. So all this is going to affect the time and the dates on your blog articles and on your pages. When you publish new posts, new pages, they get time stamped. Alright, so next we have the reading settings. We have the home page display. So by default it is set to your latest posts. However, if we create our own custom home page, we can set it as a static page, and then we can select our custom home page from our list of pages. Now our post page, we would create a page called blog, and we could select that as our post page. We can also leave these by default at 10 and 10 for how many pages are going to be shown at once, or how many blog posts are going to be shown at once. There's also full text versus summary settings here. And then search engine visibility, we want to leave this unchecked because right now we want to be visible in the search engines so that people can find our website on Google, Bing, Yahoo, those different search engines. So we're going to leave that alone. We're just going to click Save Changes. Next, we're going to go down here to the one called permalinks here over in the settings bar. So permalinks are what your URL display looks like on your website. So by default, it's going to be set to plain. You're going to have this HTTPS, your website, and then it's going to have a little page number that gets added to each page that you create for your website. However, we prefer to actually have the page name or the post name as part of the URL. So if I created a new page called Nick's home page, then it would be https nicksdemowebsite.com/Nick's-homepage. So it would be those words that would fill in here because they are the post name or the page name. So that's one way to do it. I like this method, that way you can create your unique URLs. So nickdemowebsite.com/about or nicksdemowebsite.com/contact, rather than trying to remember specific page code numbers up here under plain. Alright, and then lastly we have media settings we can go over here. So this is where you can set default image sizes when they get uploaded into your media library. So by default the thumbnail selection is set at 150 by 150. So if we go here into media, we'll go into our library. Anytime you add an image to your blog article or to your website page, you have multiple size options to choose from in the system. So these are where you just control those settings. So if you'd rather your medium images start out at 400 by 400, we could change that to 400 by 400. If we want our large size to be maybe 920 by 1280, we could set that as the max width and height dimensions for our large size images. So this is where you can set your default sizes. That way, anytime we are clicking on an image, inserting it into a page, we'll have those different default settings ready to go to resize our image, because by default it comes in whatever the original image size was, 1280 by 853. And then once we pick like medium, for example, it'll shrink that image down to 300 by 300. So overall, that is this tutorial on WordPress and everything that you need to know, all the basics to get started. We've gone over this left-hand sidebar here, all the different tabs that you need to know: posts, media, pages, comments. We went over appearance, picking out a theme, setting up your menu. We went over installing plugins, updating your user profiles, adding new users with new roles like other admins or other editors that are going to contribute to your blog. We have tools where there's going to be different settings from time to time that come in here from different plugins that you install, and then the actual settings tab itself where you can set up different general reading, permalinks, media settings, as well as additional plugins that you will install. They will populate here under the settings tab if you're looking for where to find them when you need to update certain plugin settings. So overall, that's WordPress. It's pretty simple to use once you get familiar with the navigation bar over here. You're mainly going to be using the posts, the pages. You're going to upload media from time to time, and then of course you're going to be designing your website, which today we walked you through a simple plugin called Elementor that's a page builder where you can drag and drop boxes and build your own custom pages. So you've got everything you need to get started building your first WordPress website. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Now in future videos, we're going to go more in depth over themes. We're going to go more in depth over certain plugins. so that you can learn how to use them specifically. So they're going to have their own separate video. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You are following our playlist. We have a WordPress playlist, a plugins playlist. That's going to help you find specific content geared towards whatever it is that you're trying to learn regarding your WordPress website. So I thank you so much for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you guys around on the channel, watching future videos over WordPress and building websites.